I saw this stat just now about the Cavs, and it's not good. The Cavaliers have the most turnovers through 8 playoff games. They've turned the ball over 141 times. That's the most turnovers through 8 games since, you want to guess what year? Do you know it, Mike?
Yeah, because I had the stat for my 5 stats
Many
tomorrow.
years, I'm guessing. Like
1996.
Yeah.
So the most turnovers in 30 years through 8 games.
Yeah.
It really is amazing that they're even where they are, that they even got out of the first round as poorly as they played at times.
Well, you do take that and say, okay, the road thing is a worry.
Yeah.
The getting behind in every game is a worry. And certainly the turnovers are a worry, especially when Harden, who you want to have the ball in a lot of spots, has more than 40 turnovers. Like more than 5 a game. That's just too many.
Yeah.
So you want him to create turnovers happen. You know, Donovan Mitchell's not going to score 30 every single night as good as he is, but he's got to be better than he's been. So there's a list of concerns. I think we talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
I don't think things are bleak. I'm not writing the Cavs off. I'm not saying blow it all up. But if they don't cut down on the turnovers and the 2 lead guards don't start playing much better, then it's going to be ugly pretty quickly here, maybe by this weekend.
Do you guys think they have to win game 2, or could they, win 5, or, could they lose the first 2 and then win the next 4?
My opinion is they need to win game 2 because I think our team's a little fragile and they need the confidence boost to come back with home court. I think it's important. I will obviously say if they lose game 2 after the fact, I'll be like, it's going to be okay. You can still win game 7, still win up there. But no, I think it's kind of vital at this point that they take game 2. I'm going, by the way.
Oh, you're going to Detroit?
Yep.
Nice.
Our Cavs rep called us. They have like a because we're season ticket holders there.
Yeah.
They have like a little like charter bus thing going up.
Oh, really?
And they got us tickets, and there's like a happy hour thing we're going to. I don't know.
The arena looks beautiful.
Never been.
It didn't seem very loud.
I've been to the old Palace.
Yeah,
Auburn
there
Hills.
once too.
Auburn Hills.
In the NBA now, I notice every game, I don't know if it's gotten worse or I'm just noticing it more now, every game in every arena, when the second half starts, there's nobody sitting.
That's every game, everywhere now.
Everyone's trying to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, go to the bathroom, get your snacks. Maybe they should make halftime a little longer.
No, the NBA games take long enough. We do not need an extended
I mean, it's 2.5 hours. It's shorter than baseball and football.
Yeah. We're not squeezing many into that 2.5 hour window. We say it's at 7. We tip at 7:11.
Yeah,
we
that's
have a
true.
review at 7:16, right? And then we have another review at 7:26.
And there's
we
free
have
throws
TV
late in the
timeouts.
game.
Well, to me, the NBA has too many timeouts.
Agreed.
Teams don't need that many timeouts. Number 2, they have the worst review process of any sport.
Yeah.
It is crazy how long it takes. Why did they not do
Just let the guys
in the booth?
Yes, have it decided.
Or have a
replay assist like
have
NFL.
Have a 4th official at every game whose job is to sit at the table and look at so he's reviewing the second.
We all at home know if the ball, just do the replay assist.
And again, it's like with football. If you can't tell for sure, just move on. Don't look at it 1,000 times.
NFL's getting it right.
If you can't tell in 30 seconds, move on.
Yeah. Expedited review is always the best.
Yes.
Exactly.
I don't care.
Baseball does it the best, I think, but to be fair, baseball is the easiest.
Yeah.
But they've actually made the ABS system has become like an exciting moment in the game when everybody waits for that replay.
I love it.
And it's great.
I love it.
And it's super quick. I was watching in the Cubs-Reds game on what's today? Wednesday. On Monday, the umpire knew he screwed up the call because as soon as the catcher started doing this, which the umpire did it too. He at the same time as the catcher, he did this.
And the umpires can check themselves.
No, I don't think you can officially, but he did it. It was like, I screwed up. I blew that call.
Okay.
And the catcher was doing it anyway, but he was right.
And you have in baseball, if you get them all right, you have unlimited challenges, right?
I'm not sure if it's unlimited. I got to double check that. It should be.
Yeah.
And it should be in all sports.
I know.
If you shouldn't be penalized for the ref or the umpire screwing up.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. But
Yeah.
anyway, the bottom line with the Cavs, I think we're all in agreement. There's no panic here. I don't even think if they lose game 2, I still think they can win the series.
Yeah. I'm going to stop short of must win. But I think it's important. I think it's important that they clean some things up. It's important that they do a better job of keeping Joe Duran off the glass.
Yeah.
I just think you want to see a cleaner operation. And so, however this ends up going over these next couple games, eventually they have to win one on the road.
Yes.
Or the season is over.
That's right.
I don't necessarily think that it's going to be a problem to win up there. I mean, you saw the Magic do it twice.
Yeah.
So I think it's important.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's not must win, but it's important.
It kind of feels like Detroit. You worry that Detroit got their bad series out of the way already. Like, they were on the brink of being eliminated, and they pulled it. You know, we have the most famous 3-1 comeback ever here in Cleveland in the NBA. But Detroit just came back down 3-1. That doesn't happen that often.
Well, the Sixers did it too.
The Sixers did it too.
It's just the 14th and 15th time in NBA history that teams erased a 3-1 deficit.
So it's pretty impressive. But the Sixers got boat raced by the Knicks in their first game. So right now the Knicks look like the best team.
Knicks
in the
couldn't
East.
miss in game one. I think it comes back to,
But, I don't know.
Regress to the mean tonight. It'll be closer.
I mean, Oklahoma City's going to curb stomp whoever they play, aren't they?
They're playing San Antonio. Can you give them legit?
No, I mean in the East.
I think San Antonio and OKC are
who-
the two best teams in basketball. And
Yeah.
they
Look,
happen to
all
go
four
against each
teams that are alive in the East can win the East.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, there's no Boston was the best team to
Yeah.
me, and they didn't get it done.
Yeah.
The best version of the Cavs can win the East.
Yes.
What they can do after that, I don't know. But we have not seen the best
No.
version of the Cavs, and so that's why we're.
Which is why I'm encouraged. Because
I think
we
it's
have
a fair
not
take.
even seen anything
Right.
close to the best version of the Cavs.
Right.
And we survived that series.
Right.
Like you just said, maybe the Pistons are like, they got this bad series out of their system. Well, hopefully the Cavs got their bad series out of their system
Yeah,
too.
if the Cavs continue to start games down double digits, we talked about this in the first hour,
that's gonna
but
be
they
fun.
started Game 5 against the Raptors. They were down double digits in the first half. Game 6 down double digits. Game 7 down double digits.
Game 1 down double digits?
Down almost 20. They were down 18. It's just going to be
Well,
harder
what was
and
funny,
harder
too, is the
to
first
dig out
couple of
those
minutes
holes.
last night, they actually played well. What were they up, like 7-3?
It was
Yeah.
5-0.
Or 5-0.
It was their biggest lead was 5-0.
Yeah, the first 2 minutes, they got off to a good start, and then the Pistons, it felt like scored 20 points in a row.
Yeah, the Cavs actually
couldn't
thought
make a
early
shot.
in the game last night when Detroit went on that crazy run, I thought their offensive process was decent. They actually weren't turning the ball over crazy early.
Now you sound
They
like
were
Andrew
getting
Berry
some-
with offensive
No,
process.
but they were getting some good shots. They just couldn't buy a shot. And then the turnovers compounded, and next thing you know, you blink and we're halfway through the second quarter. It's a 20-point game. The Cavs found a way to dig out of that hole. They tied the game at 93. And then they had used all their energy to get back to that point. Detroit went on the run. At the end of the day, though, James Harden had 7 turnovers. He did not have a good game at all. He had 13 of his 22 points in the fourth quarter. We talked about it earlier. They need more from Donovan as well. And if you're two superstar guards, the two guys that you rely on to set up and create almost all your offense, if they're not going to play at a level that is higher than what we saw last night, despite how good we feel right now, and despite the fact none of us are changing our overall picks in the series, it's not going to be a very long series if those two don't pick it up.
If those guys continue to play how they've been playing, the Cavs are going home.
By the way, was this game not on TV locally?
Yeah, it was.
It was on NBC Sports Network.
Yeah, well, that's on Spectrum.
Yeah, that
Oh.
network went away.
It's gone.
And so it's not.
I watched on YouTube TV.
Yeah, because they have it. But
Oh.
NBC Sports Network, I didn't know this. My dad texted me last
Yeah.
night, and he's like, it's such a shame I can't watch the Cavs
Oh, so if
tonight."
you just have like
If you have
basic,
cable,
it was on
not
Peacock.
even
It was-
basic
yeah.
cable. Like if you
Right,
have
right.
the
Yes.
full package of Spectrum, you're not getting the Cavs.
Oh,
There were
wow,
a
I
lot
didn't
of
realize
bars
that.
putting out on their social media yesterday, hey, sorry, we can't show the Cavs tonight. It's not an art.
Why don't they just
Not an
buy
art deal.
Peacock?
Well,
Because
I
you
mean,
can't do
Bars can't. The bars have different rules.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Like Joe Schmo, Dustin Fox
Yeah.
can sign up for a Peacock account for $7 a month.
Yeah.
But a corporation can't do it. It's all part of the deal.
I see.
So I think we're moving past that, right, Mike? Are they back to NBC? Or
They're on Prime.
for Game 2, and then Games 3 and 4 are both on NBC nationally and WKYC locally.
What I don't understand is why don't
It should have been on KYC, but they had the Lakers game start at 8:42.
right? But why don't they just do that regionally?
Well, they're stacking these games, and first
Yeah.
of all, I don't like every other night because I don't think it's fair to the players. Like these are high stakes games,
Right,
The
yeah,
Cade
yeah.
Cunninghams and Donovan Mitchells, they got to play these full games.
Yeah, yeah,
And yes,
yeah.
they did have to go 7 games. It's supposed to be an event, but like,
Right.
why would the Cavs have to start at 7-11 and OKC? Like, why couldn't we space it out a little bit? That's what doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Especially when they're changing venues. I know it's not a far trip in this case.
I told my dad, I'm like, Dad, I'm because I was watching on NBC Sports
Yeah,
Network
yeah.
on YouTube TV.
Right.
I also have Spectrum because we have
Right,
it
right.
for like the Guardians and stuff.
Yeah.
And he said, well, Spectrum doesn't carry it. I'm like,
Right.
yeah, they do. And so I went and checked on my Spectrum.
Yeah.
Nope. No, so you couldn't.
You don't
watch it.
need to have Spectrum for the Guardians. You could just get MLB
That's
TV.
what I did. I did that.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but anyway, long story short, we still have Spectrum.
Yeah.
We're gonna get rid of it.
Long story short, I understand people are upset about that.
Oh,
That's not
that does
ideal,
stink.
but it's only going to get worse, guys.
I
What do
know.
we talk about? Why are
Yeah,
there so
that's-
many timeouts? Because they're just raking in the
Yeah,
dollars. Amazon Prime raking in the dollars. It's just it's very weird to be in the NBA playoffs and have to search for each night.
NBC has good coverage. I mean, Ian Eagle does a good job. Grant Hill's awesome. Robbie Hummel's good.
Dude, Robbie Hummel is, I think, one of the best analysts in basketball.
Sometimes when I hear him, I think it's Jay Billis.
Dude,
right?
It's so funny. I think he has a lot of the same cadence as Jay Billis.
Yeah, I'm like,
he sounds like a because he's young. He's 31 years old.
Yeah.
Or 35, whatever. And
Yeah.
I'm like, he sounds like he's been doing this for like 25 years.
And of course, when the game first started, I'm thinking that Ian Eagle was calling the game because Noah
I know.
sometimes sounds like
I can tell
Ian.
a difference now.
Yeah, I can, but sometimes there are a couple of words they say where they sound similar. Prime, I'm not a fan of their coverage. I don't like their broadcasters.
It's hit or miss.
That guy who was doing, I don't know what.
I like Michael Grady, dude. I like him.
I think he's a cheese ball.
He's a little cheesy, but I like him.
I mean, you can't call a layup a lay. What is that? I mean, we can't have that.
Well, I didn't hear that one.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
I don't like that one either. When you look back at Game 1, though, look ahead to Game 2.
Yeah.
In particular, last night, if we're going to play the blame game for the sake of playing the blame game, is James Harden the number one guy you'd blame for their loss last night?
I think he's the number one guy that puts, if you're just talking about it, right?
Yeah.
Like, who are you most disgusted with if you're on the couch watching the game? And that's James Harden. He did redeem himself a little bit in the fourth quarter, but the turnovers have been too much. They were too much in round one. They were able to survive.
Yeah.
So Jared Allen just wasn't a factor because of the fouls and because then he got outsized and wasn't in the right place. It was the coaching decision to not put him back in. Too many easy buckets. So Mobley was not awful. Donovan was not himself, but I think it's easy to say James Harden is probably the number one guy that you blame and you worry about going forward.
Well, but here's what I'll say about this. For the people out there, and I hear this today, this doom and gloom and how negative we are on Harden, it's like, okay, I get it. I've watched James have a lot of bad playoff games. I've watched him have a lot of great playoff games. But I'll promise you this much. The Cavs would have no chance to do a gosh darn thing in this postseason if James Harden was not on this team.
That's true.
So you can be doom and gloom and say all these things and be pissed off at James Harden, but if James Harden weren't here, we're not playing basketball right now.
No.
That's why we're summing it up. Are the Cavs still going to be playing in 2.5 weeks? It has to be Harden and Mitchell.
That's right.
Strus is going to have more games like that.
Right.
Keon Ellis and Schroeder are going to have a moment, and Dean Wade is going to have to bust his butt guarding Cunningham all over the Great Lakes region, right? But ultimately, Donovan Mitchell and James Harden have to play at a consistently higher level, at least one of them each night, or the Cavs are going to lose this series.
The last 4 games the Cavs have played, the others have done enough. Not everyone every night, but as a group, to me, the others have done enough. It's the stars that haven't played well. I actually blame Donovan more than I blame James Harden for Game 1. Because Donovan, if he's hurt, I don't know. But he didn't look hurt early when he was scoring at will, and then he just disappeared from the game. And we've seen that way too much in this postseason. We haven't seen Donovan Mitchell take over like he has in past years. Where is that?
Do you think there's like something with him that he's like kind of there's not the sense of urgency because James is here?
I don't know.
Like subconsciously?
But maybe it's an issue with chemistry between the two of them trying to still figure it out. And I get it,
it's a possibility. I mean, if Donovan's hurt, no one's going to tell you that. He'll never tell you that he's hurt. I mean, the guy could have a broken foot and he'd be playing through it.
Sure.
That's how tough the guy is. So there may be something there.
Yeah, but he didn't look it in the first quarter when he scored 14 points.
No, but he didn't make a lot. Those weren't all drives. I mean, they were a lot of jump shots.
But he was looking good. He looked like himself early in the game, and then it just went away.
Mike, I want to ask you this about Donovan.
Shoot.
The last 3 games, but specifically about last night and going forward. If just 1 or 2 more of those threes go his way early, do you think it changes? Like I see him just missing shots that we expect him to make.
Got to see him go through, right?
Yeah, he had 2 early yesterday from beyond the arc that out of his hand looked good. You could tell he thought they were good because the way he kind of when Don misses a shot and he knows he misses it, he's kind of attacking on the offensive glass. He held that follow through in a way that you think you made the shot. It hit back iron, bounced off. And Donovan, we talked about it earlier in the first hour of the show, with him not getting to the rim as much, he needs that three-point jumper to go down for him to be able to force the defense out if they're not going to respect him that close to the rim. And they are respecting him to an extent, but the numbers bear out that they're not terrified of him getting to the rim because he only has 18 free throw attempts in 8 games in the postseason. I think a lot changes if he makes 1 or 2 of those threes. And yesterday, I talked about earlier, their shot process was good. They were good looks for Don. He's got to make the good looks.
Yeah.
I'll find the number for later when we get back to the Cavs later. how many field goal attempts yesterday and in the whole playoffs have been considered open, wide open, contested.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess it's a higher percentage of open looks than you would think. And
Yeah.
you just got to start making some of them.
And if you look, Mike, take a look at Harden and Donovan the last 3 games from 3 combined. It's really bad. I believe it's under 30%.
Don, 2 for 10, 2 for 9, 4 for 10. So that is 6 of 29.
No, 2, 2, and 4 is 8.
8 of 29, excuse me. And then James.
That's under 30%.
Yeah, that's right about 30%.
Yeah.
I'll pull up James if you give me 1
He's
second.
been awful also in the last 3 games from 3.
James Harden from 3 in the last 3 games. 1 of 7, 1 of 5, 1 of 4. So that's 3 of
16.
Yeah, under 25%.
So, they're both. So Donovan's shooting about 30% from 3, and James is shooting about 20% from 3 in the last 3 games. It's a big part of the reason they've lost 2 of those 3 games. So.